Hi guys, welcome to this second tutorial on unseen poetry. In the last one I looked at planning and revision strategies, getting hold of poems, just doing some annotations and then planning in terms of subject, style and structure. And what I wanted to do was follow on from that planning with a look at how you then pull up those ideas together, your annotations and your plans, and how you would put those together into a developed Peel style response, which would maximise marks on the exam. Since the other video that I did have a chat with some of my classes and they seem to feel that they can do the subject style structure technique, but they seem to feel, and I'm probably inclined to agree with them, that focusing on the beginning, middle and end of a poem is a really good way to have three clear things that you're going to say for this question. So remember, you're going to spend about 30-35 minutes on this question, so you're not going to do more than 3 points, so you shouldn't be aiming to. Now each of those points is going to be developed as well, so I won't be trying to do 6 or 7 things as some students may try to do. Also, I've had a few people asking me about this. It's for the British Heart Foundation. I'm a bit of a chocolate addict, so I'm on a detox. Don't tempt me, but as today is the 31st of March, I will be gratefully receiving chocolate gifts as of tomorrow. 5 a.m. would be the beginning of the chocolate consumption time. Anyway, that aside, let's focus on what we need to do here. We're going to use this Peel system again. They sort of showed you how you could use that and apply it to Macbeth in a previous tutorial, but the same principle really applies for all of the tasks you're doing. So let's remind ourselves, our original question was going to be, in the sideway back, how does the poet present motherhood? So I'm going to focus, I briefly annotated a version of the poem in the last tutorial, so I'm going to focus now on using my Peel system in order to sort of develop that response. I'll pause here just so you can remind yourself of what Peel looks like, because I want to then move this off the screen. Okay. So, how does the poet present motherhood? So let's have a think. How are we gonna start this off? I'm going to focus on the very first line, the very first few words, and that way I can focus on language, and I can also be dealing with structure. So I'll start around here, not because I'm weird about these lines, but I can see there's a bit of a shadow situation there. So I'm going to start always with the poet, because it just shows the examiner I'm aware that this is something that has been crafted. So the poet, I could say uses, but I'd be interested in a more sophisticated word. The poet deploys the use of declarative impact sentence followed by caesura. Right, so I'm just showing off a bit of technique there. Now it's a little bit mechanical, that, but the poet deploys. Maybe I should have actually added in here. Nothing wrong with adding in here. So I'm going to say at the start of the poem. So at the start of the poet deploys the use of a declarative impact sentence followed by caesura. So we need to put this example in here. You're late. Right, what are they using it to do? That's important. So the poet deploys the use of a declarative impact sentence followed by caesura. You're late. What are they doing? What are they using this to do? To convey something about the mother's feelings towards their child, and that tells us something about motherhood, doesn't it? So at the start of the poem, the poet deploys the use of declarative. Sorry, I'm reading it over a couple of times to get it clear in my own head. Followed by caesura. You're late. The intention here, I could say purpose, but the intention here is to immediately do something. And what is it immediately doing? It is immediately revealing to me something about motherhood. The intention here is to immediately reveal the anxiety that mothers experience when they perceive, because we don't know that they're actually in danger at this point, when they perceive their children are in danger. So I'm ticking a number of boxes for the exam here. I have got some terminology in here. I'm focusing on structure because I'm saying it's happening right away. They're immediately doing something. And I'm looking here at a very precise purpose. The intention here is to immediately reveal the anxiety that mothers experience when they perceive their children are in danger. So what I'm going to, so that was my point and evidence. I need to, if I'm using my Peel system now, I need to explain this quote a little bit more, this example that I found. So I'm going to zoom in on late, and I'm going to kind of explain, I'm going to merge my explain and explore a bit here, because I haven't got a full 45 minutes to write this answer, so I'm going to merge these a little bit. So I'm going to say late suggests that the child had a curfew and has not come home on time. So what kind of emotions is this evoking, and what does that tell us about motherhood? The mother is clearly worried, but we've maybe put an alternative interpretation here in my exploration, but is also potentially angry. Why is that mother angry? What is it about this situation that potentially has made them frustrated? The poet is suggesting, let's focus on the poet. The poet is suggesting that the fear that the child hasn't come home on time, is making the mother increasingly worried. Okay, so what I've done here is I've explained and I've explored. I'm offering other interpretations showing that she might also be angry. I've zoomed in on the word late, and now I'm going to expand this by thinking about other evidence I can support. And again, I'm going to look for stuff from the start of the poem. So I'm going to say within the same stanza, the mother, what does she do? What else did we say here? She talks about these rough places that her child might have gone to, and the idea of, they tell you not to go, so rebellion and independence. So within the same stanza, the mother lists a number of unsafe or rough places, fearing her child may be there. So what do we talk about? Love by Alley and Dead Dog Lane. So I'm going to use these as quotes here. So Love by Alley, Dead Dog Lane sound, well, two things there. They sound sexual and violent. And so the mum clearly doesn't want her child there, does she? So within the same stanza, the mother lists a number of unsafe or rough places, fearing her child may be there. Love by Alley, Dead Dog Lane sounds sexual and violent. And this, what does this convey to us? This conveys the mums. Now this is where we might bring in some of our other ideas we had about the mum being neurotic or obsessed. So this conveys the mum might be a little neurotic, paranoid, or overprotective. Quite nice to use lists of three within your own explanations and within your own analysis. Overprotective. So I'm going to now, I need to kind of start evaluating and linking this back into this idea of motherhood. So why is this important? Why is this significant? So let's have a look. The mother's fears are reflective of her worry and love, aren't they? But she's not kind of afraid because she's some sort of psychotic weirdo at home. She's afraid because she loves her child and she wants them to always be safe. And there must be for parents this sense of, you know, you have to let your child become independent and grow up. And that must be quite scary because they're no longer under your control. So the mother's fears are reflective of her worry and love. She is having to let go and finds her child's independence. How would we say that? How would we describe her feeling towards her child being independent? Sorry, some lights are coming in. Well, to me, this is she's terrified, isn't she? And finds her child's independence terrifying. Because, so if we're going to make a statement like that, because it's a really good, helpful word to use in the exam. She finds her child's independence terrifying because there are many potential dangers and the mother can no longer protect her child from everything. So let's just kind of read this back through, because I think it's important as well in your exam, you know, that you are doing an ongoing editing. You know, teachers might go, spend 5 minutes at the end proofreading, but actually by the time you've only got 5 minutes left at the exam, what are you going to do with that if you have gone wrong? So always read back. At the start of the poem, the poet deploys the use of a declarative impact sentence followed by caesura, you're late. The intention here is to immediately reveal the anxiety that mothers experience when they perceive their children are in danger. Late suggests that the child had a curfew and has not come home on time. The mother's clearly worried but is also potentially angry. The poet is suggesting that the fear that the child hasn't come home on... Look at this, see? Mistakes all over the place. The fear the child hasn't come home on time is making the mother increasingly worried. Within the same stanza, the mother lists a number of unsafe or rough places, fearing a child may be there. Love by Ali, Dead Dog Lane. Sounds sexual and violent. And this conveys, let's say, to readers that the mum might be a little neurotic, paranoid and overprotective. The mother's fear are reflective of her worry and love. She is having to let go and finds her child's independence terrifying because there are many potential dangers and the mother can no longer protect her child from everything. So I've taken a really small quote, a really sort of tiny detail from the beginning of the poem, but I've really tried to use my Peel system to go into depth, to find other interpretations, other supporting evidence, to explain why something might be significant, and then to link it back to this idea of the theme, the writer's purpose, or the message and ideas. What I'd be encouraging my class to do, even though it's going to be tough going at the end of a really challenging exam, I would try and ask them to do 3 of these sort of points, and if they were able to do something along those lines, I'd be confident that they would be getting full marks for this question. Okay, why don't you now have a look at an unseen poem, a different one, maybe even, let's have a look, you could even have a look at this poem that I also had on here, Roller Skaters, and think about, think about how motherhood is presented in this one as well. So if you just pause the video here and you can have a look at this poem, thinking about how you could approach it in the same style. Alternatively, why don't you have a think about the poem that we've been looking at together, The Sideway Back, and see if you could do your own Peel paragraph on one of these middle stanzas or the poem's ending. Okay, thanks for listening guys, bye.